Now, NATO Secretary General is set to address the U.S. Congress later today. Jens Stoltenberg in Washington to mark the 70th anniversary of the alliance, which was formed to counter Russian aggression. On Tuesday, he met with the U.S. President in the White House. Donald Trump, who once called NATO obsolete, praised countries for increasing their contributions, but called for more.
If you look at the charts and the different things, you go back 10 and 15 years, and it's a roller coaster ride down in terms of payment. And since I came to office, it's a rocket ship up. We've picked up over $140 billion of additional money, and we look like we're going to have at least another $100 billion more in spending by the nations, the 28 nations. We're going to have, and that's exclusive of the United States, we'll have another $100 billion more by 2020 or a little bit into 2020.
For more on this story, we can bring in Ian Reifowitz, historian and author of The Tribalization of Politics. Thank you very much for joining us on the program today. Now, we know what Donald Trump thinks of NATO, but later on today, the Secretary General of the body will be addressing Congress. Is he going to try and speak over the president's head and address, Republican congressmen directly?
Absolutely. I think the fact that Stoltenberg is addressing the Congress is a significant statement by both Democrats and Republicans that they want to put some distance between themselves and the president when it comes to NATO. The Washington Post went into a deep analysis of this, and according to their analysis, really it's the Senate leader, Mitch McConnell, who took the leading role in getting Stoltenberg to come and be invited to address both houses of Congress, because, of course, McConnell is the leader of the Senate Republicans, leader of the Republicans in Congress, the president's own party. This could not have happened without him taking a leading role and working closely with Democrat House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. We even saw Republicans going on record as essentially distancing themselves from Trump on NATO. We had Representative Mike McCall, who's a Republican from Texas, who said it was, quote, very significant, end quote, that both parties stand together and show their support for NATO. He even added, quote, NATO is obviously our strongest alliance in Europe. Do they have to pay their fair share? Of course, but I think the rhetoric doesn't have to be quite so harsh, end quote. Republicans are usually pretty reluctant to stand up to President Trump. On foreign policy, they have been more willing to do so, and I think it's pretty clear that on NATO, Republicans want to say something different from the president, and the invitation to Stoltenberg makes that clear.
Okay, so clearly Donald Trump seems to be doing his own thing when it comes to the tweets and his statements which he makes disparaging NATO.
Yeah, Donald Trump does his own thing is something you can say to characterize much of what he does, but it is true that usually Republicans stand by him. I think even though within the administration you have seen other administration officials say nicer things about NATO than the president himself, even up to the vice president, which is something I was really surprised by. The vice president hasn't gone against the president in the way that somebody like McCall or McConnell has here with the invitation to Stoltenberg, but even the vice president has not gone to the same degree as Trump has in criticizing NATO. There seems to be something there. The State Department and other officials, and certainly Republicans in Congress, want to make it clear that they do not go with President Trump on NATO because they don't want to be seen as standing in essentially doing the bidding of Vladimir Putin. And I think for whatever reason, President Trump sees NATO as something he needs to complain about. And in a lot of ways, he's helping, Vladimir Putin. I think Vladimir Putin probably smiles every time the president says something harsh about NATO, because one of his goals has been to drive a wedge between the United States and its European allies. So
indeed,
we all know that Trump
Ian,
and Russia has been controversial.
Ian, you have a book coming out, I believe, next month. It's called The Tribalization of Politics, How Rush Limbaugh's race-baiting rhetoric on Obama paved the way for Donald Trump. Is there a way, in your opinion, to fix the tribalization, considering that we have U.S. elections that are scheduled for next year?
Yeah. The way to fix the tribalization of politics would be for the Republican Party and for the right wing and for Donald Trump specifically to move away from the kind of race-baiting rhetoric that we've seen. I don't think that's going to happen, frankly, and certainly not until Donald Trump is out of office. At this point, he is, with his remarks after Charlottesville and on countless other occasions, talking about Mexican immigrants as rapists, he's the one driving that. So it's going to take the people doing the tribalization to either be out of office or to change their tactics. I would love to see that happen, but I don't think it's going to happen until after 2020. And if Donald Trump wins re-election, I think it may be a permanent feature of certainly of Republican politics.
It would be tough to put the genie back in the bottle. Thank you very much for that, Ian. Ian Reifowitz joining us there from New York today.